It's about memories, this. Memories of me, a stage in Wolverhampton. Me dressed as a woman in a leotard, sparring with Frank Bruno, then still former world boxing champion. Memories. It's all memories. It's BBC Hereford and Worcester. It's Malcolm Boyden. I'm here until 1. Good morning, Tuesday morning. Hope you're okay. 9 minutes past 10 o'clock. Shall we crack on straight away? Without further ado and no messing about. Yes? I think we should too. Do you remember when we turned a fidget spinner into a record player? Have you got it yet, Janetta?
You sure you weren't playing it backwards?
No. He was playing it. No. Go on, give it another spin. Hang on. Oh, I know it. I got it. I've been hurt. Too many broken hearts in the world. On a fidget spinner. Hey. Thank you, sir. Once again. All right. Still one of our favourite clips. Jason Donovan, he's never sounded so good. It was a triumph, I tell you. Well, fidget spinners have been around for a few weeks now. It's unlikely there's a child left in the country without one, we reckon. They're being sold and sold out mostly on every corner of every street. But is fidgeting good for you? The science behind fidgeting, it's an interesting one. Harriet Dempsey-Jones has been studying it. Harriet, you're going to like her, she's a nice lady, is a postdoctoral researcher in clinical neurosciences at the University of Oxford. How about that for a title? She's been writing about fidgeting for the website The Conversation. Her article is entitled The Surprise Science of Fidgeting. So, having ants in your pants, it might not be such a bad thing after all. Let's talk to Harriet. She's on the line. Let's get her on the show. Hello, Harriet.
Hi, Malcolm. How are you?
Very well. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We like this article. Tell us what you found out about fidgeting.
I found out a number of things. Some of those being that fidgeting might actually provide some benefits to us in terms of helping us regulate our various things about ourselves, like our attention or our stress, that might be getting a bit out of hand. So, for example, some of the literature tells us that if you're in a situation where you're becoming very bored and your attention is lagging, perhaps your fidgeting and moving around provides stimulation and physiological stimulation to your body to help wake you up and return your attention to where it needs to be to focus on the task. And this has been supported by some research that has shown that actually, if you compare a group of people who are doing a boring task, say monitoring a phone conversation for some details, and you allow one group to say doodle with their hand, and the other group is prevented, you'll find that what the group that's actually allowed to doodle recalls more details about the task they were doing than the group that didn't.
I see. So it relieves boredom. It helps us focus. How does it relieve stress?
So there's some other theories as well that have noticed that, in particular situations, especially men seem to display what they call these displacement behaviors, which is where they pick at people pick at their skin or pull at their beard or twizzle their hair. And there are some theories to suggest that that kind of fidgeting, it may represent a different kind of fidgeting, but it also just, again, might provide some sort of a stimulation, that draws your attention away from something that's distressing you, for example, like the stress of the situation that you're in, and allows you to sort of focus on something else, and again can then reduce your stress. So there's quite a number of different theories that all look at the same idea of whether fidgeting is actually helping to bring you to a level that you need to be, whether you're too stressed or you're a bit bored, and those kinds of things.
Does fidgeting burn up the calories, Harriet?
It does. So there's been some fairly surprising research to show that actually compared to, for example, just lying down, if you're sort of fidgeting while sitting or fidgeting while standing, you actually burn about sort of 30 to 40% more calories than you do just sort of lying still. And so overall, if you look at sort of the amount of calories that it can burn a day. Obviously it varies because people show different amounts of fidgeting behaviour, but it can be from 100 to sort of up to 800 calories burnt off as heat energy per day. So that's quite a considerable portion of your sort of the daily expenditure of energy. And they think that these, even compared to people who are vigorous exercisers, who do a lot of exercise, even in those people, most of the energy you burn off doesn't come from your exercise. It comes from these non-exercise behaviours like walking around, fidgeting, chatting, talking. And so these other sources tend to be quite important in regulating weight.
What is fidgeting? Is fidgeting walking around? Is fidgeting drawing little pictures or doodles? Or is fidgeting a number of these?
I think, it's a good question. The researchers tend to draw some parallels between the kinds of things that are fidgeting. So there's often a kind of rhythmic component. So, if people are doing like leg shaking behavior, there's that kind of cyclical thing. And doodling often, if you look at what people do draw when they're doodling, it's not always sort of something sensible or drawing a picture. It's often these round, rhythmic kind of shapes and things like that. So there is a bit of a component of that. And people when they're sort of fidget walking, they tend to sort of walk in circles, and there seems to be some rhythmic element to what fidgeting is, but it's a bit of a difficult one to define, and different people have different definitions as well, so it's a bit of a tricky one.
Well, you've just defined me, because I'm a leg shaker, a doodler, a skin picker, a pacer. Are you? You're a leg shaker?
I'm leg shaking right now.
I'm leg shaking right now. So we're fidgeting. Is that because we're stressed, or because we're concentrating, or it's helping us to concentrate? I wonder. We're both leg shaking as we speak.
Yeah, it seems to be that certain people just have a bit more of a proneness for it. So if you look in particular in families, for example, people within a family will show more similar amounts of fidgeting than people outside the family, and twins will show more fidgeting similarities than non-twins. So there seems to be some kind of genetic innate element to sort of people who maybe, perhaps we bore more easily, perhaps we get stressed out more easily, and this is a way that your body uses to relieve that stress and keep you on track.
So overall, is it your conclusion, Harriet, that it's best to fidget, leg shake, walk in a circle, that sort of thing, doodle, or is it best to stay completely still?
Well, I think the thing that you have to think about is, while it might be, unconsciously helping you sort of regulate yourself, it's not. Fidgeting is not a popular thing to have around. So, the research suggests that people do use other people's fidgeting behaviour to infer their mental state. So people look at a fidgeter and say they're bored, they're not paying attention, they're basically not present. So I think that you're not going to make many friends by fidgeting. So while it might have some positive, regulating aspects, it's not a popular thing socially. So maybe sort of if you're going to shake your legs, do it under the table, or try and sort of not to distract others while you're doing it, because it seems to be something that's not socially very popular.
Look at me. I'm beard twiddling and leg shaking at the same time now.
But we can't see you, so it's fine.
That's okay. It's all right. I won't lose any friends.
Exactly. You'll be okay, I think.
Lovely speaking to you, Harriet. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No worries. See you later.
Bye-bye. Yeah, she's a leg shaker. Are you? That's Harriet. She's nice, isn't she? Harriet Dempsey-Jones, a postdoctoral researcher in clinical neurosciences at the University of Oxford. So she's got some brains, but she's a leg shaker. I'm a beard twiddler, a leg shaker, a doodler, a skin picker, a pacer, and a circular walker. So I've got no hope for any friends. But at least I relieve my boredom quickly, at least I'm focused, and at least I burn up calories. Anyway, if you want to read Harriet's article in full, it's www.theconversation.com and search for the surprising science of fidgeting.
The General Election 2017.